Hey everyone! Tonight is night 5 of our Everyday Mom series. I'm excited. I know I've said it every single time, but tonight is no different. I'm super excited tonight. We're featuring Donna White. She is just a wonderful, wonderful lady, a spiritual mom for me, and I know for so many. So I know that you're going to be blessed. Don't go anywhere. Stick around, watch the whole thing. She's got some great words of wisdom. So here it is. Enjoy. Well, you have a beautiful family, and I'm just so happy that we're here today. So, Donna, tell me what or who has been the most influence in how you raised your children, and or how you are now as a mom or a grandmother.
Well, I grew up in a family of 6 girls, so I'm one of 6, but a very unique family because there were like two families within one. There were 3 older girls.
Okay.
And then a span of 6 years, and then I was the oldest of the last 3.
Wow.
So my sister, one of my older sisters, was really the one that had a lot of influence in my life, but she never knew it until one Christmas, probably about 6 years ago. I gave her one of the willow statues. And she said to me, "What's this for?" And I explained to her that she was like a rock to me, that when there were difficulties in our lives as children, we always went, Denise and I, my younger sister and I, would always go to her because she to us represented comfort. My mother was, by the time we came along, my mother was an older mother, and not that she didn't provide comfort, but she was tired.
Yeah.
My poor mom was tired.
Yeah.
We loved her. We often speak about how grateful we were that she provided everything for us, showed us how to be good moms, how to do all the necessary things in our life as far as being good wives. But she was tired by the time the last 3 came along, because even between my sister right below me, who's a year younger, there were 5 years between the last one, my sister below me, and the youngest one. So my mother was up in years before she was done having children. So I would say between all of my older sisters, but especially my second to the oldest sister, who's now gone home to be with the Lord, she never realized the impression and influence she had on my life, and until I told her. And she really did. She was a very kind, loving person.
That's awesome.
And we miss her.
Yeah.
We're doing this, all of us do in the family.
I'll bet. That's awesome. What is one thing that you would say that you are most proud of that you taught your children?
The Lord, giving them the availability of knowing the Lord. You know, besides trying to teach them right from wrong and giving them a standard to live by, giving them the Lord, taking them to church, trying to live it out, although they've told me there were times that I was a hypocrite. You know what? I'm grateful that we have the relationship that when they never could say that to me when they were younger, because they were not allowed to be disrespectful. If they had something they wanted to say, they had to go to their rooms and say it to me, not to my face.
Sure.
But as they got older, they had said to me, sometimes you didn't walk out what you were saying with your mouth. I said, yeah, you're probably right. I wanted to impress those outside the home than inside the home. So be careful, mothers, that you walk the walk and talk the talk inside and outside the home. That's what I would say to the mothers, because they're watching us all the time. They may not seem like it, but they are watching us all the time. So we now have that kind of relationship. I made sure that the mistakes that I made being a mother, the mistakes that I made, I went back and I had to ask for forgiveness because, I was not the easiest mother. I was very strict. So I went back and had to ask for forgiveness. But they said to me, Mom, what are you talking about? But I did go back and I had to sit down with all of them, each individually, and talk to them and say, I was just too hard. My oldest one, I was very hard on, but she's just like her dad, just like him. And I expected way too much, but she was like that when she was 1 year old, but, so.
Yeah, you've got some great children. So
Thank you.
I love all that you just said. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Tell me something from a grandmother's perspective. What is something that you love the most about being a grandmother?
Being able, in my case, being able to do the firsts with my granddaughter. Wow. I guess with all of my first three, because my baby granddaughter lives in Wisconsin, so I wasn't able to, but she's very blessed in Wisconsin to be able to have her grandmother with her. But I was able to do the firsts. My daughter, who would had C-sections with a couple of her children, wasn't able to do a lot of those things, like their first baths or their first, a lot of their first holdings, because she couldn't stand too long. So doing things with them first, taking them out into where we lived at the time, into the woods, and going what we called swamping, going into the woods with muck boots on and playing in the swamp, or just crawling through pipes that most people would say, oh, that's not fun. But we would do things like that, giving Sophia her very first bath and taking a picture of her little tiny feet wrapped up in blankets with her little feet sticking out.
Aww.
The unconditional love that you get as a grandmother, and not really having to be the mother. And I know a lot of grandmothers say that, but if you've never been a grandmother yet, and you will be, you'll understand.
Yeah.
It's just all those fun things. And now that they're older, they're all teenagers, and Sophia's the last one to graduate from high school, just acting goofy. She's one of these young ladies that's just very naive and yet so much fun. I mean, she believes everything I say to her. She's going to be a junior in high school, and she's very naive, but so much fun. And I, Pastor Mary, will have to tell you some stories sometime, but
I can't wait.
I love her so much because she's just fun.
Yeah.
She just enjoys life. She loves God with all of her heart. And that's the one thing, that's the reward that I get for what I poured into her mom and what she's poured into her daughter. That is worth everything in my life. Yeah.
What is something that you would share that you feel like you have struggled with, either currently or in the past, that you've struggled with as a mom?
For those quote unquote tough times that I thought I was not a good mother, just forgiving myself, and moving on from that.
Yeah.
The enemy will try to bring that back up to mothers later on, or even now when you've had a bad day and you go to bed at night and you think, oh, I lost it with my son, or I lost it with them again. Don't receive that. Yeah. Don't receive that. Ask forgiveness, and ask for forgiveness, even if the little one is small. Say, I'm so sorry, honey. Yeah. Or just hold them and cuddle them and still say, I'm sorry to them, because they will remember that. Yeah. And just kiss them, hold them, and move on. Don't hold it. And don't go to bed thinking about it, because the enemy will beat you up. And let it go. And don't hold on to it, because as you get older, believe me, the enemy will try to use it against you. Just forgive yourself. Okay? You're not perfect, but you'll make mistakes. Yeah. Just love them.
That kind of spurs into our final question, and that is, I think you've touched on it a little bit, but what piece of advice would you give a mom today that's struggling? I mean, in the craziness that's going on even now, what kind of advice would you give to a mom that's struggling with her everyday?
I would say to you, Steve and I decided right from the beginning, we would never let the children come between us as playing one against the other. When they would try that, and every one of them tried it, we made it very clear to them, you do that again and you will be punished. You have a set of rules that have to be set, and then if they break them, there's no 1, 2, 3, don't play that game. You're the mother and the father. You have an authority given to you by God. You are responsible for raising them. And if you don't do it, someone else will do it. And you're responsible. You'll stand before God for how you have raised your children. Do it His way. The Word gives you every single thing you need. Okay? You are to responsibly discipline your child. Every time we would go out, people would see us coming with 4 kids and they'd roll their eyes. And they'd say, don't sit those kids near us. Don't sit them. They were so, and please understand, I'm not bragging. I would see their faces, but we would sit down and my children knew if you act up, the ladies' room is soundproof. They knew what that meant. They knew they're going into the ladies' room or they're going out to the car. And my kids knew what the rules were. They knew we loved them, but they knew there were certain times and places for where out in public you behaved. You're not going to ruin someone else's meal, period. Yeah. And they're all good kids now. Did we have problems with them? Of course we did. But they all knew there were going to be consequences. And they're all very good kids. They're all grown adults. They all have good jobs. I just enjoy my grown adult kids now, and awesome. We're blessed.
Amen.
Steve and I have been blessed.
Amen. Amen. So, well, you guys are a blessing. So thank you so much for today. I really appreciate your time and your words, and I just know it's going to be a blessing to so many moms, and just know how much you are loved by me and so many. And happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
Love you so much.